This is a first, guys. First time to drive an actual light commercial truck. Woohoo! One of the perks of doing car reviews is the chance to drive different types of vehicles on a regular basis. For a car guy like me, that is a huge plus. Now, all car guys dream of driving sports cars and sport trucks, and I'm no different, but an added perk is a chance to drive vehicles that are, well, special, in a sense. Case in point, the all-new Foton Gratour TM300. And unlike my Isuzu Traviz video, this time around, we get to drive it. Let's do this! Hello guys, I'm Reagan and welcome back to another truck review. If you're new to my channel, I hope you hit that subscribe button and become part of the Reagan's Rides family. If you're my subscriber already, thank you so much for your support by watching this video. I also hope that you give it a like. Also, special thanks to Foton Motor Philippines for this awesome opportunity to feature and drive the all-new Foton Gratour TM300. If you have any inquiries at all for this light commercial truck, you may contact the hotline that I'll put in my description below. The Foton Gratour is classified as a light commercial truck similar to the Mitsubishi L300 Fb, the Hyundai H100, and the Isuzu Traviz. Now, just like its competitors, the Gratour now sports a diesel engine, an option that will be greatly appreciated by small business owners. Now, the Gratour can also be spec'd in different body types, from a dropside truck to an F-van, a wingvan, a jeepney to this MPV. Now, depending on the body type that you choose, the pricing could vary, but this MPV retails for 830,000 Philippine pesos. The MPV is also proudly assembled in the Philippines, so quality is assured. Now, let's see what kind of ROI you'll get for your money. Now, buyers of light commercial trucks normally don't care about looks, but more about function. In that regard, the Gratour is actually larger than the Isuzu Traviz and the Mitsubishi L300 Fb. You also get halogen headlights here, but the Gratour will add on fog lights and LED DRLs as well. I mean, who knew? That's actually a first for these light commercial trucks. Now, the cab itself is made of high-strength steel, and you have a crumple zone here at the front for maximum safety. The cab shape itself has been optimized for better aerodynamics, which wouldn't win any races, but at least it will help you save more fuel in the long run. Now, the Foton Gratour gets a line here at the side of the cab to further improve on the aerodynamics. For your wheels, you get 14-inch steelies, which are wrapped in 185 tires. Now, these steelies are pretty much expected from these workhorses, but what's not expected is the fact that, well, you get a better braking system. The brakes for the front are disc brakes, while you get drum brakes at the rear end, but the Foton Gratour TM300 gets ABS, a vital safety feature that will make sure that you have a safe drive all the time. Now, for your ground clearance, you have 180 millimeters, which is pretty decent. And for your suspension, well, it's a light commercial truck after all, so you get leaf springs up front and leaf springs at the rear end. Now, the Foton Gratour TM300 can be used as a company shuttle or for delivery services depending on your needs. It has a 14-passenger seating capacity and a payload capacity of 1,130 kilos. Now, these bench-type seats are pretty typical from these commercial MPVs, and they can be folded away in case you are transporting cargo instead of people. Now, you could also fit this cab, this back cab, with a separate aircon unit, which is a dealer option that you could, well, discuss with your dealers. Now, the biggest difference with this Foton Gratour TM300 is the fact that, well, it now has a diesel engine. Previously, Gratours can only be purchased with a gas engine. Now, this motor is a 2.2-liter turbo diesel engine that churns out a heart-stopping 87 horses and 220 Newton meters of torque. Now, this may be a little bit lesser when it comes to power versus the Hyundai H100, but it edges out both the Isuzu Traviz and the Mitsubishi L300 Fb when it comes to its torque figures. Now, power is sent to the rear wheels via a 5-speed manual transmission. You'll also be happy to know that this diesel motor is also Euro 4 compliant, so emissions testings will not be a big hassle for you. Now, I'm also happy to see that there is an air filter snorkel that can be found at the side of the vehicle, so going through a flooded street here in Manila will not be an issue at all with the Foton Gratour TM300. The front cab of the Gratour is surprisingly spacious, and it's quite obvious that Foton prioritized driving comfort when it came to designing this front cab. The steering wheel is fixed in place, but I like the fact that I got tons of space here that can easily fit my 5'6" frame. The steering column is also collapsible, which is an added safety feature that is a big plus for the Foton Gratour. Now the seats are, well, made of fabric, so that's quite expected, and they're also on the firm side, but I like the fact that they are shaped in a way that they can easily mold into my human body. So that should make for a comfortable driving experience when you go on a long-haul trip with the Foton Gratour. The instrument gauges are also all in analog. You've got a tachometer and a speedometer here. Nice to see that you also have a tachometer, so that's also a good touch. And you also have a 3.5-inch LCD screen in the middle that shows you all of your vital stats. Now, I'm also happy to see that this Gratour also has power windows, and your key also has keyless entry. Now, these are two amenities that we normally take for granted when it comes to passenger cars or crossovers, but seeing them in a light commercial truck, now those are huge brownie points in my opinion. You also get this basic radio here and air conditioning, and I also love that the air conditioning controls are all in a rotary dial setup that is pretty similar to some passenger cars out in the market. Now, it's quite obvious, guys, that the Gratour is really meant for the working business owner because you've got a ton of storage space found inside the cab. Foton counts 10 storage spaces here, including not 2 but 3 cup holders. We have a couple of cup holders here beside the handbrake and a third one in front of the gear shifter, which we will subject to our clean canteen test. So we take the cup holder up front. Nope, it doesn't pass. It doesn't fit my clean canteen, doesn't go all the way in. But the cup holder at the back is a complete pass. Now the third cup holder is huge enough that it could easily accommodate my clean canteen because it now houses a tiny, well, a small fire extinguisher here that comes free with all Foton Gratour TM300 purchases. So this is also a good touch because, well, if things get a little bit too hot inside your Gratour, you could always use your fire extinguisher to cool things down. Aside from those cup holders, you've got storage cubbies here and there for a lot of stuff like umbrellas, for documents, tickets, Mentos, chewing gum, coins, basically anything and everything that you normally be carrying with you whenever you're going on a business trip in the Foton Gratour. Now granted, the materials that's been used inside the cabin are all hard plastics, but that's pretty much expected when it comes to these light commercial vehicles. Now, it's time for the main event of this video, guys. It's time to take this Foton Gratour TM300 out for a quick drive. Let's go! Alright guys, so this is actually a first for me and also a first in the channel. We are now driving a light commercial truck. We're driving the Foton Gratour TM300 and man, what an experience! I mean, wow, this is something else, guys. Alright, so first up, driving dynamics. Well, it's a diesel, and I noticed that it's got a ton of low-end grunt. And when I say a ton of low-end grunt, you don't even need to use the first gear from standstill. You just go pop it into second gear and you're on your way, guys. Wow. But of course, the gearing of this thing is all meant for the low end. So yeah, it's gonna pull and pull hard. Like what we're doing now, let's going up to this uphill. Yeah, we're pulling really hard. Now, I'm trying to speak a little bit louder here because, well, the diesel engine is under my butt and I could hear everything inside. So I don't know if the microphone is catching all that diesel engine noise, but it's there. So yeah, if you're gonna think that you're gonna get like crossover levels of NVH here, well guys, sorry to disappoint you. This is a light commercial truck, so yeah. You're gonna hear all the diesel engine noise inside the cabin of your Gratour TM300. Alright guys, see, I'm on second gear. That was from standstill going through an intersection and it was easy. You know, I didn't hear any issues with the engine. It just started moving, guys. So that's one of the characteristics of these diesel engines from these trucks. Just put it on second gear and you're on your way. Yeah. Now another thing that I noticed is the clutch is a little bit on the high side. So when you step on the clutch, it's not gonna bite immediately. You're gonna have to really reach that point where it's almost back to a resting position before the engine catches on. So yeah, it takes some getting used to, guys. So at first it was really quite tough for me, but after driving it for like 5 minutes, yeah, I got used to it. It's not gonna be an issue. Now when it comes to visibility, it's not an issue at all. Well, you've got nearly a vertical windshield in front of you and large windows on the side. So yes, you don't get any blind spots. You just have to mind the fact that, well, this is a longer than usual vehicle. So it's like you're driving a pickup truck. Well, except that you do have a rear cab at the back. So yeah, visibility, not an issue. Ergonomics is actually pretty good. Aside from the usual upright sitting position that you normally get from, let's say, light commercial trucks like these, it kind of feels like I'm driving a passenger van. Yeah, it's a little bit more upright than an actual van, but it's the same feeling that you get. Like when you're piloting, let's say, a Star X or an Urban or maybe even a Super Grandia. It's almost the same feeling that I'm getting here. But of course, the noise level is a little bit on the high side. You'd really hear that diesel engine, guys. Wow. Well, it's pretty expected because, yeah, this is a commercial truck after all. Now, one good thing that I noticed with this Gratour TM300 is the air conditioning. You've got some really cold air conditioning here, and that is fantastic news, especially if you're going on a long-haul drive on a hot day, like what we have right now. So yeah, comfort-wise, air conditioning, spot on, guys. Now, when it comes to suspension handling, well, we are riding on leaf springs up front and leaf springs at the back. So naturally, since I'm the only person here, well, you could expect that the suspension would be a little bit on the bouncy side, and it is. But that's quite expected with these light trucks, so that's not really gonna be an issue. Handling-wise, it's also pretty decent. It handles like a truck, but it doesn't feel too unwieldy. The good thing here is the hydraulic power assist system is also quite light. So moving around in tight city roads like what we're doing now, it's not gonna be a problem at all. I am really enjoying the fact that you don't need to pop it into first gear when you're going from a standstill in a traffic light or a stoplight. You just put it in second gear and it would just go. Now that makes me wonder what the first gear is for, and then that's when I realized that yes, when you're carrying a heavy load and you're going on an uphill, that's where that really strong and sturdy and super torquey first gear comes into play. That's when it happens. Traffic. Alright guys, so overall, well, what can I say? The Gratour TM300 drives like a truck, sounds like a truck, feels like a truck, but it still has those cabin amenities and passenger creature comforts that you normally find in, let's say, a crossover or a passenger car. And that's what I like about this. It's quite comfortable despite the fact that it is a light commercial vehicle. And I'm really so happy, guys, that you're here with me during this first ever time that I get to drive an actual truck in my car review channel. So thank you guys for watching this. Wow, this is an awesome experience, y'all. Fantastic. Fantastic, guys. Woo! The Foton Gratour is surprisingly similar to a passenger MPV when it comes to driving dynamics and comfort. Now, despite being a light commercial truck, it's nice to see that Foton still equipped the Gratour TM300 with creature comforts and amenities that you'd normally find in a passenger car. Now, the fact that it now has a diesel engine at a lower price point than its competitors makes it a compelling option in the light commercial truck market. Thanks for watching.